Welcome to the Wiggly Podcast. It's a special this week, a special from the Wiggly sofa, sort of, the Wiggly table. I'm Heather Gorringe.
I'm Richard.
And I'm Farmer Phil.
Richard who?
Fishbourne.
That's handy because we're talking about fishes this week.
Here we are.
Years ago, well, weeks ago, we talked about Richard's peanuts.
Yeah. Yeah, we did. And that makes for an interesting listening, actually.
Does it? Where did you go then? Tell us all about it.
It seems like a long time ago now, but I think the last couple of weeks are shot by. But I went to Guyana, and contrary to what Karen thinks, it's not in Africa, it's in South America. It's
that's close, isn't it, Rich?
Next to Venezuela, yeah.
Neither of them are near Herefordshire.
No, it's a good old jaunt. So a mix of experiences, really. Mostly, the reason I went there was to catch huge fish, to catch a species called an Arapaima gigas, potentially the biggest scale freshwater fish in the world. But a few nice treats as well. On the way back, I met a fella that had been involved in some community work, working with Amerindian communities to increase their peanut yields in the Rupununi, which is an area of savanna in Guyana. And so I had a fantastic chat with him.
Are there the peanuts that we use to feed the birds?
They
go for something very useful?
Yeah, the thing is, the Guyana don't really export much. Pretty much everything they grow is used in-house, so to speak. The quality of their products, the quality of peanuts is very, very good. There are different types of peanuts, of course. A lot of their peanuts gets used for peanut butter and things like that. So that's quite interesting. And also, I was taken to I suppose it would be it's like a social enterprise, almost like a city farm, just on the outskirts of Georgetown. And the chap had created a biodigester. It's a very simple affair, but hugely significant because it powered 2 houses and a generator purely by methane emitted from a tank that was, 25 yards long and 1.5 meters wide. And they had a little vermiculture set up, so all these fantastic dendras wheeling their way through all the compost that they got. And also he was making compost mixing chicken and cow manure and molasses being the fuel for the bacteria.
Farmer Phil uses those.
Yeah, that's right.
What do you use those for, Farmer Phil?
Well, molasses is just another word for raw sugar. It's very similar to black treacle as you would buy to use in cooking. It's raw sugar, and that's what bacteria or any living organism really, it's the raw unit of energy that drives them. So if you want bacteria to multiply, feed them sugar, and molasses is a really great... I use it in bokashi to multiply my bacteria and yeasts and so on that make up the mix that ferments my bokashi.
Right, So shall we go off on this adventure? Lord knows what will happen. Splashes, macaws, biodigesters, peanuts, Ricardo, and...
allegedly the biggest fish ever caught.
And the biggest fish ever caught. It's a Guyana special.
Right. Well, after 3 days of travel, we finally arrived in the jungle. And that's hacking you can hear in the background of the guys quite literally hacking their way through the bush. There's a pool that lies deep in the forest here that we're going to drag one of the boats through. We've just spent, we've come about 40 miles upstream, a couple of aluminium boats with 15 horsepower engines. Fantastic scenery coming up through the jungle. We've seen all sorts of interesting things. There's literally a different species of bird every 400 metres. We've got tarpaulins up over the camp and been bitten by a couple of mosquitoes already, which probably will be millions of them. So we've laced ourselves up with mosquito repellent, we've baited up the rods, and we're going to go and try and catch a piranha for bait. Some big catfish apparently, so we're going to go out in the boat later on and see if we can catch some catfish. But in the meantime, we're going to go and see if we can catch our first Guyanan predator. So we've just edged our way down to the side of the water. James has cast out. First cast of the trip. I look downstream, it's pretty majestic. It's huge billowing clouds over a massive rainforest. There's a massive pond skaters in front of us. There's millions of pond skaters, never seen so many. And Ashley said that, oddly, that fish don't eat them, so they must taste disgusting. Anyway, I'm going to flick out a bait. There's a few fish dappling the surface, so you never know, there might be a piranha just waiting to snaffle my lure. So Ashley, the reason there's so many fish in here now is literally because they're sort of landlocked after the river's gone down.
No, so it's good habitat for a lot of fish. A lot of fish come in from here, from the river to breed and stuff like that in the season.
Okay.
And as the water recedes, they become locked off in here now. Watching the big one turn here.
Oh wow, yeah, I saw that.
one?
Yeah. That's
Bigger
all,
one.
that's a nice fish. Yeah.
But the next one turned
Yeah.
the box.
Yeah.
You saw that?
Yeah.
Mhm.
God, it's incredible.
Small one, medium, 2 medium size one.
It's like something out of a Johnny Weissmuller film. It's absolutely astonishing. The sun's setting now, but it's so hot and I'm dripping with sweat. I saw that.
Small one there.
The backs really come quite a way out of the water, don't they?
Mm. You never seen them before?
No, this is a whole new experience for me. You don't get too many of these in England.
But you're all excited for tomorrow.
There's some macaws above us. Beautiful birds. Vivid scarlet chests. Well, we've just walked back from the lake anyway. Saw several Arapama tern, a couple of big ones as well. So now we're going to go and get the boat and drag it through and ready for tomorrow. That noise, those are howler monkeys. There's a couple of different family groups either side of the pond next to our camp. Apparently it's only 1 or 2 individuals amongst the family groups that make that noise. It's a kind of spooky noise, it's not how I imagined it to be at all. The sun's just coming up now, the light's just breaking through across the horizon. And the nighttime noises are changing for a few bird songs, but generally speaking the day is so much quieter than the night. That throbbing sound you can hear in the background is a wasp nest, a massive great nest about 4 foot long, hanging down from a tree. We've just eased our way under the tree. The bird you can hear in the background, a screaming bird, is a caracara. Beautiful black bird, red face, white-throated raptor. And the water is glistening off this nest and it's inundated with thousands of seriously fierce-looking wasps. We have no idea what type of wasps they are. But that noise is most peculiar. Giant otter, the sound of a giant otter, isn't that amazing? There's a giant otter right behind us. We've got a giant otter literally 10 foot away from us. That is the sound of a giant otter. That grunting sound is the sound of a giant otter. Literally, it's 10 foot in front of me. 10 foot in front of me. Huge, 4 foot long, too, a pair of them. Look. That's amazing, just hear it. Can you believe that? It's a scarlet macaw. Well, we set up camp the day before yesterday at a place called Fish Pond. Appropriate enough name because it's absolutely heaving with fish. And the guys had a little bit of an expedition to go off and dig the toilet and stuff like that. And they found a caiman nest. So Ashley's just taking me across there. We're going to creep across slowly and hopefully Mother Caiman's not guarding the nest. She comes up at night, drags herself up the bank. You can see a track up the bank from a really shallow creek. Probably about 30 yards away from where we're camping.
And normally what happens is when she sees you get too close, she just comes rushing down into the water.
Right,
in the way, it's a little disconcerting. You're sort of scrambling to get out of her way.
Yeah, I reckon. Yeah, that must be sort of a bit nerve-wracking, isn't it, at times? I mean, how big are they, caiman? They're big, aren't they? I mean, the ones we've seen in the river, what sort of length are they?
The males are a lot larger than the females.
Right.
The biggest ones we probably get around here are around 15 feet.
Right.
The biggest one we've caught on the project was 12 feet. And
Right.
we've seen a few that we think are around 14 feet.
Right.
Well over 1,000 pounds.
Yeah, that's a big animal. Big enough to take a chunk out of your leg. That's a sure fact. This is amazing, Ash. So what we're looking at now is a huge heap of piled up leaf litter and twigs, and you can see the track that the female's made up to the edge of the nest. So what's she done here exactly, Ash?
Well, unlike most crocodiles, lay their eggs in the sand.
Right.
Same with turtles, and then they use the heat from the sun to incubate the eggs.
Right.
Caiman do it a little different. They basically make, it's basically a compost heap. So
This is,
they
isn't it?
pick up all this leaf and vegetable material, and then they lay their eggs in the middle. And I suppose it's aerobic bacteria, whatever. The heat from the leaf litter breaking down actually incubates the eggs.
Right.
And all the caiman species do that.
But, I mean, presumably the eggs hatch at a fairly uniform sort of time. I mean, how long do they take to hatch?
But they take between 85 and 90 days for them to hatch.
Okay. So
Fairly
it's
long.
quite a long time,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah. So she's guarding this nest over quite a long period.
And we've seen nests of again, when we're doing the research, we've been looking at what kind of materials they use in this area here. That like in the forest, gallery forest where we are in particular, they use a lot of this leaf and sticks. Sometimes you get black caiman out in the savanna ponds, and they'll use grass. They'll break down
Okay.
the grass and scrape up the grass, and you have grass nests which are very different.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one of the interesting things, obviously, with a lot of reptiles, when they lay their eggs, the temperature determines the sex. If you have a higher temperature, you can get more males, and if the temperature is slightly lower in the nest, you get females.
Really.
The nest is warm, and when we open the nest just now and you put your hand in, you'll feel it's warm. But also, if there's direct sunlight on the nest, that will change the temperature
Yeah.
quite a bit. She'll come up and she'll do this mostly in one night. Occasionally she might take 2 nights to build a nest and,
Right.
and lay the eggs.
Right.
And then, we've noticed that, because we'll come and we'll check the nest back again a couple of times each year,
Yeah.
each season then. And, sometimes she comes and she sort of adjusts it a little bit, And I mean, we've sometimes noticed that when we've dug stuff in, because we put little hobos in, which are sort of thermometers that take a thermometer reading every 20 seconds or every half hour or whatever you want,
Right.
over a period of 3 months. So we can see how the temperature increases or decreases, stuff like that.
Right.
And we've noticed sometimes that when we've dug in the nest that she'll come back, and we've actually also seen where she's reopened the nest and, thrown out our hobo
Really.
and rebuilt the nest back again. So she's obviously realised that it was
Yeah.
something different in there.
Something in there, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's incredible, isn't it? I suppose they could smell us as well.
It's the smell, yeah, for sure. I mean, we had them in a Ziploc bag. We don't put them in Ziploc bags, but for sure she can smell.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a phenomenal sense of smell. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So how deep are the eggs in this pile then?
Well, as you see, the nest is probably about 6 feet across, 5 by 6, and it's about 2 feet high. And the eggs are normally positioned somewhere in the center. There's a sort of a chamber, a nesting chamber then.
Yeah.
And they're normally about a foot down from the top.
Right.
Let me have a look and see where we can find them. I mean, just putting your hand in here, you can feel how warm it is already compared to the outside temperature.
It is really warm, isn't it? It is just quite literally like putting your hand inside a compost heap to see if it's working properly. And that's going to be
That's enough to
considerably
incubate the egg.
warmer than life under a hen or something like that, isn't it?
Going down, and there is the top of first layer of eggs.
Oh
there.
wow, look at that. Yeah. Oh, it's amazing. Look at those. Gosh, look at all those eggs. So how many eggs would you find in something like this?
Normally there's about 30, but most we've ever found is 39.
Right.
I would say the average is probably in the late 20s, early 30s.
And they're beautiful eggs, aren't they? They're
And they're
oval and large. I mean, that's the size of the palm of your hand, really. They're long, aren't they?
Yeah, we're getting close to 10 centimeters or so. to them.
Is there any way of being able to tell whether the eggs are fertile or not?
Yeah, earlier on in the stage, in fact you can see it here faintly, you get this banding, this sort of a black, and very suddenly, if the eggs are like 2 or 3 days old, you can see it. There's normally a black band on each side here, sort of a banding,
Right.
which shows that they're fertile.
So they're so rough and hard. I mean, presumably they're very robust then. I mean, I guess they've got to be, if she's pushing them all together and piling leaf litter all over them, they need to be pretty tough.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I'd expect a reptile to lay soft-skinned eggs. I guess it's purely because I'm thinking of turtles and whatnot. But
Well, some of the turtles lay hard shells as well.
okay,
It varies a bit. Most of the nests, or a very large percentage of the nests, are damaged by tegu lizards, which are like a large monitor lizard.
right.
They're terrible for these caiman nests and turtle nests as well, because they have a phenomenal sense of smell. And they'll find this nest, there's every chance they'll find this one as well. They literally dig in through the side here and they'll take out eggs and feed on them.
Right.
And then, again, we make a note of that.
Yeah.
See how much damage is done to nests. I would say at least 2/3 of the nests that we find are partially damaged. They don't necessarily always take all the eggs,
Right.
but they'll take a good percentage of them.
So they're at a disadvantage straight away. So even the eggs are getting eaten before even the young have hatched. And the young, they're going to be really small, aren't they?
Yeah, they'll be about 9 inches or so long.
Okay. So they'll scramble out of this nest and make their way down to the water.
Down to the water.
Do they get any protection from the parent after they?
I think
hatch?
she's around. Once they're hatched, the mother is always around them. How much protection? I know again a lot of the baby caiman fall prey to jabiru storks and herons, and so again, once they're hatched, they still have a real gauntlet to run before they get around. I should imagine it's only maybe 2 or 3% that ever make it to adulthood.
Yeah. Well, I guess we better cover it back over again. Superb.
Let's build it back. One of the things we're normally very careful of is the dust, just to make sure it all goes back in the nest, because any smell that remains outside is obviously a big attractant to tegu lizards and stuff that make prey on the nest.
Right. That's the sound of a red-tailed catfish, banana fish. They go like stink. This guy, most beautiful fish. They fight like nothing on earth. We've just got this one out. We're going to put it back in a minute. But as I'm looking at it, it's got the most vivid, beautiful red fins, and quite literally a banana-coloured undercarriage. They make the most peculiar noises. Fantastic big whiskers. And Kevin is with me here. He's stroking it to make it more noise. Is that a nice one, Kev?
Yes.
Yeah. Is that bigger than James's? Yeah.
It's a lot smaller.
Are we gonna put that back? Are they good to eat, those?
Yes.
Yeah. Should we put it back? Okay. It's amazing, this place in the daytime. It's so quiet. You can't hear anything at all. The odd bird and stuff. But at night, it's just deafening. The sound of frogs and cicadas.
No line coming back on here at all, isn't there?
Really? You can tighten and drag up a bit.
No, he's still taking long.
You're still going down the river, yeah?
Look at that.
That's a big fish there, then.
Oh, he still wants more.
Whoa! Wow! God, that's taking some. That's just one kick of its tail and it's away. Big fish, man. Oh, James has been on this fish now for a good 10 minutes. No, it's a massive fish just hanging under the boat. It's just coming up to the surface now. Oh, Christ! Christ almighty, I thought I was coming into the boat then. My God.
Wet my camera up.
Yeah, we're all soaked now. I've got water all over this iPod and everything. I'm going to put this away until we get the photos. I'm going to do my bag up because it's getting. Might as well just put the bag in the water. Well done. Got hold of it.
Oh, well done. Yeah, well, what a picture.
What a fish.
What a fish.
That's a stunning fish.
Come hold it now. Come hold it here now.
Hold it, man.
Just like how I'm holding it.
How are you holding it towards you?
Yeah. Just hold hard on.
Jesus Christ almighty!
Bring the camera here.
That's a big kipper. Have you got some pictures of this? Have you got a camera out?
I'm taking some photos now, man. Hang on, man. Hang on. Let's just take some photos quick.
Jesus,
Hang on, I'm going to turn this thing off. Okay, wow, so we just wandered up to this other spot. Rowan's just, it's going to show me a biodigester that he's made. I mean, this is a real feat of ingenuity. How have you made this? I mean, what was the purpose of this originally?
We're in a livestock farm.
Okay.
Part of it is been to get rid of the show farmers so you can save on gas for electricity using some of your agricultural waste, cow manure as a waste. This was in the country over 20 to 30 years, 40 years probably ago, using concrete.
Right.
Right, and that being very costly, we just diverted this plastic bag. This is the first in Guyana to be set up using a plastic bag.
Oh, wow.
And we assume that we will get 20 years from it.
Okay.
Based on information we receive. It's very simple to use. It's 30 feet long, double plastic.
Yeah.
And where we mix the cow manure in a slurry form with water.
Okay.
Lead it from that tank, which is like a funnel leading to it.
Yeah.
After it is being established, take about 40 to 50 days to build up the right amount of gas.
Yeah.
And when this is full with gas, it's extremely tight. Extremely tight.
Yeah,
like
yeah, I bet it is, yeah.
Here
yeah.
we have a security valve. When that is extremely full, some of the gas will count here. You could hear the stung, like, you felt something in the water, you have it stung.
Right.
This means that there's excessive gas. The excessive will come from here.
Okay.
If you look that way, you see we have two pipes.
Yeah.
Two pipes going to a house that way,
Yeah.
house that way.
Yeah.
That's where the farmhands cook.
Right.
We also run a generator, a normal generator on it.
That relatively small area supplies the gas for the needs of two houses
Two houses.
and a generator.
Yes.
That's quite amazing. So really, as far as gas is concerned, are you completely sort of self-sufficient?
Yes, I have.
That's a real impressive feat. And it's relatively simple as well, isn't it?
Very simple. You don't need to use an like what we have here, the two sides. We have two like a box. You don't need to have a box. You just dig a hole. But when we was doing this, it was raining before the shed was here.
Yeah.
And the soil was very loosey. So rather than the gas started to build up in the plastic bag, coming up, it started to go sideways.
Right.
We just had to fit that. But being a very low cost, we don't advise farmers, that you have to buy material to make a box really.
Okay.
And the other one we set up in Canal, a next part from here, another part in our country. It's a hole and you fit the bag inside.
Right.
Using plastic bag and PVC pipe.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, how much does that thing cost you to make in total, do you reckon?
It's about 50,000 Guyana dollar.
50,000
Guyana dollar.
Okay. If you had to pay for gas, how much would you be paying, say, a month for gas?
For gas, a normal household would use like a 20-pound cylinder gas, which is about $3,000 in the market.
3,000. Okay.
Yes.
Per month.
Per month.
So this thing is paid for itself within 12 months, easily.
Yes.
That's
and,
impressive. Yeah.
You know that no cow manure in this farm is being wasted.
That's brilliant. It really is.
None of waste was here. We have another here which I will take a quick look.
Yeah. We will. We'll have a look.
Okay, let's
go. Well, after that fantastic farm visit, we're just driving back now. But Jerry McGrath was involved in helping peanut farmers, strangely enough, increase their yields in the Rupununi. Rupununi is an area that I've just been to and I've seen peanuts growing. That was quite an education, actually. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to speak to anybody about it, but as coincidence will have it, Jerry is a knowledge par excellence of all things peanut-like. So, how did you get involved with that, Jerry, initially, in being able to sort of help the indigenous people increase the yields of peanuts?
Well, in 1998, the authorities in Region 9 organized a workshop, and they brought Amerindians from all over the region, from 50 different communities, to discuss problems and needs for agriculture development. And at the end of that workshop, the meeting decided that the number one priority was improving the productivity, the production of peanuts and cassava.
Okay.
Peanuts as a cash crop and cassava as a food crop.
Right.
So at that point in time, I was the representative of the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture. So our organization promised to provide technical support. And following that, I contacted some peanut specialists in Florida and Georgia.
Yeah.
And they sent 2 teams down at different times. One was to carry out an evaluation of the feasibility of expanding production.
Okay.
And that study proved positive, the conclusion was reached that peanut production could be increased from an average of about 900 pounds per acre, which was what they were producing at the present time.
Yeah.
You know, in 1998.
Yeah, sure.
And they thought they could increase the productivity up to 3,000 pounds. And then following that mission, another team came down of extension officers with experience in peanut production, and they did a one-week training program for peanut farmers in how to go about increasing production and productivity.
Nice.
And then after that, the Agency for International Development provided some funding through a program called Peanut Crisp.
Okay.
Which is managed through the University of Georgia. And so a project was initiated then to provide technical assistance to peanut farmers over a 5-year period.
Right.
And it was about that time that I retired from the IICA, and I was asked to be the coordinator of that peanut project then.
Okay. That's a wonderful thing to have achieved. Now, you know, I was talking to you a bit about balmy British people. We feed birds on peanuts. In fact, I'm wondering whether or not the majority of the peanuts that enter the UK end up on hanging from bird tables. And we've had a thing that's in the back of a lot of people's minds, these avid bird feeders, aflatoxins. Mm-hmm. Now, I was reading through your fantastic document earlier on, and there was a mention of aflatoxins and the ways and means of reducing the peanuts becoming infected. Can you just give me an inkling as to exactly what aflatoxins are?
Aflatoxin comes from a fungus that grows on the peanut.
Okay.
This particular fungus grows on the peanut when the peanut is not dried properly.
Right.
So when there's too much moisture. So we usually try to ensure that the farmers dry their peanuts down to about 10% moisture content.
Yeah.
And at 10% or so, these peanuts can be stored for 1 year without any problem at all with aflatoxin.
Right.
We have found peanuts that have been, maybe because the peanuts were rained on after they were dried, because the storage was not proper and moisture somehow got onto the bags of peanuts.
Right.
Under those cases where there is excess humidity, the aflatoxin does occur. The fungus will grow, and that'll cause the aflatoxin. You can notice it because it's kind of a powdery mildew, blackish in color.
Yeah.
Kind of a greenish black.
Okay.
If peanuts that have aflatoxin are consumed, why, it could be deadly.
Right.
Internationally, I think there's been outbreaks in Africa where hundreds of people have been killed. So it's something serious.
Significant, isn't it?
That you have to think about. But in the area where the peanuts are grown in the Rupununi, it's really not of great concern, because as far as we can tell, there's never been anyone who has got sick or died from peanuts. We have not found one case of children or adults that are allergic to peanuts.
That's encouraging.
And we think that one of the main reasons for that is that peanuts are growing during the rainy season.
Yeah.
And they tend to be harvested in September and October, which is the beginning of the dry season.
Okay.
From September to October to January, you don't get any rain to speak of.
Right.
An occasional shower, but no heavy rains.
Right.
And because of that, studies have been done in the Rupununi and have showed that the Rupununi is an ideal location for solar drying, because the humidity is so low, and the drying conditions are perfect, for solar drying.
Yeah, sure.
So that means that most farmers, without even thinking about it too much, their peanuts are dried, and then they put their peanuts in storage, and the conditions do not exist to grow this fungus, which creates the aflatoxin.
Right. Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Joey. That's superb. Cheers.
So that was our tour of South America. Thank you, Ricardo. I wish I'd been there with you.
Yes.
I'm sure you'd have a
Mr.
lot of fun in that boat.
You would have done you. Oh, you'd have loved it, yeah.
I don't know what he got up to. I have seen one photo of him in this fishing escapade, and he looks even balmier than I've seen him ever before.
And the biggest congratulations of all must go from the whole Wiggly team to James Heggie. Well done, James, for putting up with him for a whole 3 weeks. Bye from the Wiggly Sofa. Till next week. Subscribe with iTunes. Bye.
Bye.
Bye from me.
Hey, I can talk to the animals.
Would have been great apart from the noise. And you're trying to get a recording.
I'm talking to them.
Splash.
Until they understand me.
People are going to be, they're not going to decipher between you and the otter. No, it is. That was brilliant. There's some stunning photographs there.
Probably got to see it.